What's up everybody, Corey with Freaky Tech Reviews here. Back in June, I discussed the announcement of the Nitro Deck, the handheld gaming deck for the Nintendo Switch. And today, I have it in hand and we're checking it out. The Nitro Deck is a handheld device that comes from a company called Cracked, and it allows you to be more comfortable while playing the Switch in handheld mode. Not only is it designed with comfort in mind, but also for durability. The Switch itself is thin, it feels brittle, and has awful joystick lifespan with the infamous stick drift. And the Nitro Deck is here to change that. So I want to dive into some really cool features that it has, my thoughts on it, and then why it's being released so far after the Nintendo Switch back in 2017. Also, there's a feature on the Nitro Deck now that I'm very excited about that did not exist back in June when I covered it, and Cracked decided to implement it after getting a ton of feedback on their announcement trailer. And we'll go over what that is in just a little bit. Also, Cracked did send me this Nitro Deck for review, however I have no financial incentive from this video and they have not seen it before it goes live. Now I was excited when I opened the box because they sent over the limited edition Retro Purple, which, let's be real, is modeled after the Nintendo GameCube, which is one of my all-time favorite systems. And in my original video there were two options that I really wanted and this is one of them, so I was even more excited to see that when I opened the box. Aesthetically, I think it's perfect. I love the design, it really hits that GameCube feel, not only from the tone of the plastic with the grays and the purple, but also with how the colors are laid out just like a GameCube controller. It really hits that nostalgia feel for me, which I love. Cracked also has other color options and deck variations, and we'll go through those in just a little bit as well. The Nitro Deck is compatible with both the original Nintendo Switch and the OLED model. I currently have the original model, and even with the smaller screen, it fits great. It uses Hall effect thumbsticks to completely remove the never-ending problem of stick drift with the Nintendo Switch, and it plugs in directly to your Switch via USB-C for ultra-low latency. And being a gamer with big hands, I hate playing the Switch by itself without a grip. Although for me, it is still tough to reach that lower right joystick. That's kind of a problem that I've always had with bigger hands. And the only handheld console I've ever seen that I think did it right is the Steam Deck with having both joysticks at the top. Now, while it does increase the overall size of the Switch quite a bit, it doesn't really add to the weight of the Nitro Deck and is surprisingly light. Along with the standard Switch button layout, the deck also includes 4 remappable paddles on the back, with the top 2 paddles already connected to the L and R bumper buttons, and the bottom 2 paddles connected to the triggers. And it's super easy to remap these paddles by simply pressing the program button on the back of the deck until you see the Cracked logo flash purple, and then you have 10 seconds to input what buttons you want assigned to those paddles, and then you press the paddle you want it assigned to and the LED turns white to confirm your inputs. And also, it's not just single button presses, you can also have combination buttons so that you can assign several different button presses at the same time to one paddle. And to remove all mapped inputs, you simply hold the program button for 5 seconds until it turns solid white and resets back to factory settings. And a couple of days ago, Cracked also released a video on how to remap those paddles, so it's in the description below if you'd like to watch it. Now, one thing that's really difficult to portray through video is the actual quality of the materials. The deck just feels premium, from the body to the buttons and the joysticks. You can just tell it's made with really good materials. And the kickstand has friction to it and zero wobble, and you can tell that Cracked really thought through every design detail when producing it. Now, actually using a Nitro Deck, it is very comfortable in the hands. I like that the grips are a lot meatier for me to use with bigger hands. That's why it looks so small, but for the average person, I think it's going to be more than enough grip for you. The buttons feel great whenever you're pressing them, and most importantly, the joysticks have plenty of travel, whereas on the Switch, they barely move at all. The one thing I will say is that the haptic feedback and the rumble on the actual Nitro Deck are very, very strong, and I haven't found out a way yet to see if you can decrease that, but one thing to note, but overall, just the using of it is really nice. Now, one thing I didn't realize you'd be able to do with the deck is use it as a standalone controller for not only the Switch when it's docked, but even with your PC. Once you've selected wired mode from your Switch, you can then run a USB-C cable into the output of the deck itself that then plugs into your Switch dock and allows you to use the Nitro Deck as a controller. That's a really cool feature that gives even more value to the deck and makes it more than just a grip. And while I'm not sure that I would actually ever use it that way on PC, it is nice to know that as a big guy with very wide shoulders, I can use a much bigger controller so that my hands aren't having to stay so close together. It's an ergonomic thing, but it makes me a lot more comfortable. And then the feature that I'm the most excited about that Cracked implemented after a ton of viewer feedback is Turbo Mode. To turn on Turbo Mode, you simply hold the ZL and minus button and the Cracked LED will begin flashing green, and it flashes at the speed rate of your turbo setting, and you can adjust this by pressing the plus and minus buttons for faster and slower, and then press the button you want turbo mode on to confirm the speed. To exit turbo mode, you simply hold ZL and minus again, and the LED will go back to white. Not only is this a really cool feature, but I love the fact that Cracked is listening to their viewers and taking into account what's most important to them, so I really like that they implemented this. And finally, additional features that the Nitro Deck supports is pass-through charging, gyro compatibility, rumble feedback, and then the Cracked Cracked companion app. With the app, you can authenticate digital proof of owning your Nitro Deck through the True Collection system and other Cracked products to not only provide proof of ownership, but also determine how rare your grip is and what number it is of the limited batch released. The app has several more functions to it that you can learn more about through Cracked's video that I linked down below as well, but this is how I found out that I have device number 9,985 out of 10,482. Now in my first video, I did not see a ton of value in this feature, and to be honest, I still don't, but it was kind of cool whenever I was registering my deck to see what number it is and how rare it was, so it ended up being something that's kind of cool. Now let's take a look at your order options. Like I said earlier, I have the limited edition purple deck, and right now there is only 2 other limited editions available that all come with the hard-sided carrying case, a shoulder strap, and replaceable joystick heads. And these limited editions come in at $90. And then there's also base models that have options in black, white, and gray, and all come in at $60. Now I couldn't find out on the website how long the limited editions will be available for. However, just the clear series alone is already gone from my first video, so if you want one, you're probably gonna have to jump on it pretty quick. And speaking of the carrying case that it comes with, it's great quality and it's nice and hard-sided, and on the inside it has mesh pockets for joysticks and other small accessories and can hold up to 8 physical games. And then there's also a nice braided Cracked branded USB-C cable as well. Now one thing that's really cool that Cracked did is they allowed you to easily interchange your joysticks. Because of wear and tear, you're going to need to replace the heads occasionally, so you simply twist and pull and they pop right off, and then you place the new ones on and you can continue gaming. Now before we talk about the timing of the release of the Nitro Deck, I do just want to go ahead and say that I actually really like it. So when it comes to whether you should get it or not, it shouldn't be based on quality, because that I can say is definitely worth it, but really based on features and if it's something that you would actually use. How often do you play the Switch in a handheld mode? Do you need a bigger grip for it? And if you value additional features like turbo mode and having an additional controller, then I think it's absolutely worth it. And also, because of the feature of actually using it as its own standalone controller, I actually think that hikes its value up quite a bit. So for $60, not only are you just getting a bigger grip that has a lot of different functionality with it for your Switch, it's actually kind of another controller. Some of the better quality controllers that you can get for the Switch, like the Switch Pro, are very expensive, so this is actually a very cost-effective way to get another controller but then also have a ton of functionality with it that you don't really get anywhere else. Now I talked a lot about the timing of the release of the Nitro Deck, considering the Switch came out in 2017 in my last video, but I do have a couple other thoughts on this. In my June video, I shared how dominant the Switch sales have been since 2017, and as of right now in 2023, the Switch is at a total of 129 million units sold. And in June, the numbers that I came across were 125 million, so just in a couple of months, it's already increased by another 4 million units, and that's probably in large part due to the release of the Tears of the Kingdom bundle, but I also think there's more to the story. And on this next point, I just want to say I have zero evidence, this is only my thoughts and speculations, but I recently released a video talking about major leaks for the Switch 2 in 2024, and be sure to check that video out if you haven't already. But in that video, I discussed how Nintendo has already demoed the Switch 2 to developers for games, and it wouldn't surprise me if they're also demoing the Switch 2 for third-party accessory creators as well. So my personal thoughts are, if Cracked gets enough traction with the release of the Nitro Deck, and then the Switch 2 comes out next year, they will be perfectly positioned to explode and start releasing decks for the Switch 2 as well. So in my eyes, I think the Nitro Deck is a really great kind of testing the waters product to see how interested people will be, because then they could just full steam ahead manufacturing Nitro Decks for the Switch 2 and really blow up. Let me know your thoughts below and if you think that makes sense or not. I know a lot of you in the comments pre-ordered the Nitro Deck. It should be shipping this week as well, so I'm excited to hear your thoughts on if you're looking forward to it coming in, and once you get one, please swing back by and let me know what your thoughts are on it after receiving it. But if you've made it this far into the video, please be sure to subscribe and join the Freaky Tech family. But I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to spend with me. Again, I'm Corey with Freaky Tech Reviews. I'll see you next time.